The offering is perfect. A silver-bellied river fish, caught at great risk in the lowlands and carried for a full sun cycle up the winding cliff path. Its scales glitter on the flat, wind-scoured offering stone. Alara, the clan's eldest matriarch, arranges it with gnawed fingers, her joints aching from the climb and the damp air that perpetually coils up from the abyss. She murmurs the ancient words, a prayer to the sky gods who nest on the opposing spire, a monolith of rock so vast it creates its own weather. For generations this covenant has held. The clan offers the best of its hunts, and the gods, the great Quetzalcoatlus, leave them in peace. But the peace is broken. The air is still to still. The usual updrafts that carry the scent of fish across the chasm are absent. There is only a profound, listening silence. Then a shadow falls. It does not race across the ground. It floods it, an eclipse of impossible speed, draining the warmth and color from the rock. Alara does not look up. To meet the gaze of a god is to invite oblivion. She stays bowed, her faith a shield. A sound follows the shadow, not a screech, but the percussive tear of atmosphere, the sound of a living mountain of skin and bone displacing the world. It is closer than ever before. The fish is snatched from the stone. But the ritual is not complete. A leathery wingtip, vast and stiff as a ship's sail, clips the edge of the monolith. A shower of granite chips rains down. A second shadow, smaller and sharper, falls directly over Alara. The god has circled back. From a crevice 20 paces away, a young hunter named Kael watches, his knuckles white around the shaft of his flint-tipped spear. He sees the colossal head descend, a crane-like neck lowering a beak longer than his entire body. It is not aiming for the stone. It is aiming for his grandmother. He breaks the law. He screams, "Alara!" Alara looks up, her eyes wide with a terror that transcends faith. The god's eye, a black bead set in a crest of fiery keratin, fixes on her. The spear-like beak opens. Kael is already moving, his feet sure on the familiar stone. He tackles the old woman, pulling her back from the ledge as the beak stabs the very spot where she knelt. It strikes with the force of a falling tree, the impact shuddering through the cliff itself. The Quetzalcoatlus shrieks in frustration, a sound like grinding consonants, and with a single, immense downbeat of its wings, it launches itself back into the void. The clan scrambles from their caves, their faces pale. They help Alara to her feet, her body trembling. They stare at the splintered offering stone, and then at the sky, where their god has become their predator. The shaman Orin, his face a mask of disbelief, begins a new chant, one of appeasement, but his voice wavers. The faith of these human ancestors, the very bedrock of their survival in this age of dinosaurs, has cracked. Kael stands, his chest heaving, and looks not at the shaman but into the abyss. His voice cuts through the panicked whispers. "The gods are hungry," he says, "the words are heresy, and our offerings are no longer enough." Panic, cold and sharp as the wind off the abyss, settles into the clan's caves. For 3 days they do not go to the ledge. For 3 days, the great shadows of the Quetzalcoatlus pass overhead, their calls echoing like pronouncements of doom. The hunger in the settlement grows, but the fear is greater. Orin leads frantic rituals, sacrificing precious dried meat and rare berries on a new, smaller stone dragged to the cave mouth. Bold and reckless, swoops low and snatches a child's hide doll from where it lay, a gesture of pure, predatory contempt. That is when Kael speaks again, his voice raw but steady in the flickering firelight. "We are praying to a storm. We do not understand the storm, so we offer it our food, hoping it will pass. But the storm is not a spirit. It is a beast, and it has a reason for its rage." He stands before the elders, his silhouette stark against the cave paintings of giant, benevolent sky beings. "I will go down," he says. The words fall like stones into a silent pool. Orin scoffs, his face aghast. The abyss is forbidden. It is the underworld. To walk its floor is to invite death. You would profane the sacred ground of the gods. Kael turns his gaze to the shaman. To starve on this ledge is sacred. To watch our children be hunted is the will of the gods. He gestures to the dark chasm beyond the cave mouth. Their behavior has changed. We cannot know why from up here, We learn the ways of the ground beasts by watching them. We know where the Triceratops forages, how the Allosaurus hunts. We must learn the ways of the sky gods. He proposes a heresy born of desperation. He will descend the cliff face, traverse the chasm floor, and climb the base of the god's spire to observe their nesting grounds. He needs to understand the cycle of their deification, the very source of their divine life, to find the cause of their anger. It is a journey into the heart of their religion, but not as a worshipper, as a spy. The journey is a death wish. The floor of the abyss is a tangled, shadowed graveyard, a place where things that fall from the sky are torn apart by what knives in the dark. It is the hunting ground of the sickle claws, the vicious Dromaeosaurid packs that are too quick and too clever for the open plains above. This is a fact of hominid history in this violent, prehistoric world. Her arm, still bruised from Kael's grasp, looks at her grandson not with horror, but with a flicker of grim understanding. The gods tried to kill her. The covenant is shattered. Let him take the strong vine, she says, her voice quiet but firm, cutting through Orin's protests. And the best flint. There is no ceremony. To celebrate such a blasphemous pilgrimage would be too court disaster. Kael gathers his few supplies. He's not a heretic seeking to anger the gods, but a hunter seeking knowledge, the most valuable resource for early humans. He stands at the edge of the world, the abyss breathing its cold, damp breath upon him. He secures the vine and, without looking back, begins his descent into the realm of gods and monsters. The floor of the abyss is a world of bone. Kael moves through a landscape of silent, colossal skeletons, the final resting places of creatures that misjudge the chasm's edge. The air is thick with the smell of decay and damp earth. Here, the process of taphonomy is not a slow geological process. It is a rapid, violent consumption. He sees the remains of a stegosaurus, its plates scattered like shattered shields, the bones gnawed clean. This is the domain of the ground scavengers, and he is a trespass. He hears them before he sees them, a series of sharp, clicking calls that echo off the canyon walls. The Dromaeosaurid pack. They are sleek, feathered hunters, moving with a fluid, terrifying grace. Kael freezes behind the massive vertebra of a long-dead sauropod, his heart a frantic drum against his ribs. They are not hunting him. They are moving with purpose towards the base of the god's spire. He follows, a ghost in a graveyard of giants. The base of the spire is a chaotic jumble of fallen rock and scree. Above, he can hear the deep, guttural anxieties of the nesting Quetzalcoatlus. And then he sees the blasphemy. The raptors are climbing. With incredible agility, they leap from boulder to boulder, using their sickle claws to find purchase on the sheer rock face, ascending towards the lower nests, which hang precariously just beyond the predator's easy reach. But not beyond the reach of these climbers, Kael watches, mesmerized with horror, as the lead raptor reaches a nest. The parent god, circling high above, shrieks in a storm of helpless rage, its immense size making it impossible to attack its own cliffside. The raptor punches its snout into a huge, leathery egg, and the clan's god becomes just another animal, its future devoured by a creature a fraction of its size. And in that moment, the great mystery is solved. Kael understands everything. The gods are not angry with the clan. The clan's offerings on the high ledge were never about worship. They were a lure, a strategic offering that drew the clever Dromaeosaurids away from the nesting spire. When the clan hid in their caves, the easy meal vanished. The raptors, relentless and intelligent, simply switched to the next available food source, the eggs. The clan had not been supplicates. They had been unwitting guardians. They had been unwitting guardians. The covenant was not one of faith, but of ecology. Kael scrambles back, his mind racing faster than his feet. He explains his discovery to a stunned assembly. Or the shaman stands silently, his entire worldview and remade in the span of a breath. This is a turning point in the prehistory of their people. Faith gives way to a plan. The next morning, it is not a priestess who approaches the ledge, but a hunting party. They carry no single perfect offering. They carry spears tipped with sharpened bone. Their new austere ontographic technology designed not for big game, but for quick, lethal work. They descend part-way down the cliff to a new ledge, one that overlooks the raptor's path. There, they leave a butchered carcass. As the raptor pack emerges, drawn by the scent, the clan does not pray. They attack. Spears fly. The hunters shout, creating a wall of sound. They are not trying to exterminate the pack, but to teach it. They are redrawing the boundaries of the hunt. They are taking their place in the brutal, complex web of this ancient world, not as worshippers, but as partners. The great shadows circle their cause no longer full of rage, but of something else. Something that feels impossibly like acknowledgement. The offering stone remains, but it is no longer an altar. It is a vulture. The clan's relationship with the sky gods has been forged anew in the fires of understanding. They are no longer passive subjects living under a divine, unpredictable tyranny. They are active participants in the survival of their ecosystem, their intelligence the most potent offering of all. This was more than a shift in strategy, it was a profound leap in human evolution. The moment our ancestors stopped simply fearing the monsters that ruled their prehistoric world and began to study them, to comprehend their motives and manipulate their behaviors, was the moment they ceased to be just another struggling hominid. They became something new. They took the first audacious step on a path that would lead our lineage out from the shadows of giants and toward dominion. Their struggle, etched into the cliffs of the abyss, is a testament not to the power of God, but to the dawn of human intellect, the defiant spark that allowed a clan of fragile, clever apes to look upon a sky filled with living mountains and choose not to just pray, but to think. This is the sound of our own beginning, not a whisper in a garden, but a spear striking stone in the shadow of a hungry god. And on a distant shore, another clan watches as the long-necked titans of the sea begin to beach themselves for reasons no one can understand.